What's going on, everyone? It's Purple Haze here with more thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct that just happened, Switch 2. And this time I'm going to be talking about a more probably sensitive slash controversial topic. And that is the Mario Kart 8 pricing. So if you haven't been following it, Mario Kart, or not Mario Kart 8, but the Mario Kart for Switch 2, the pricing is saying that's going to be $80. Some people are saying $90. And a lot of people are throwing out the word anti-consumer. And I just want to kind of like put my thoughts out there, like uh what I think about all this. But overall, let me just start off by saying like Nintendo right now has said that the game's gonna cost like MSRP is 80. So far, Nintendo has always had mainly all the console manufacturers have main price parity between the digital and the physical. Now you can have an argument about whether you think that should be fair or not, but for the most part, we have not seen anything from Nintendo saying that it's going to be $90. I know there's a lot of outlets coming out, Kotaku, Forbes, and others that are saying it's going to be 90 physical. I've not seen that, and I don't necessarily trust reporters all the time. Again, these are people who get paid to write. They don't necessarily get paid to make the right decisions. So, with that said, I'm going to say that the game's 80. But even with that, a lot of people are saying that that is too much. And I want to talk about another aspect. If I were to look at the launch title that came out with the Switch originally, Breath of the Wild, that game was $60. If I go and put into an inflation calculator, what is $60 in April 27 to what is $60 in today, 2025, I am going to get a number that sounds a lot like $78 to $79, right? So when I think about that, that means that the game is kind of right priced, relatively speaking, at the right price point. But with that, even given all that, what I want to talk about is this idea about consumerism and anti-consumerism. People throw this word out a lot, and the reason why I want to focus on this is because by throwing out the word anti-consumerism for keeping up with inflation, you actually take away from what is actually anti-consumerism. So, anti-consumerism is actually something where you have a law in place, and if you actually are engaged in anti-consumer practices, you can be sued. Raising your price with inflation is not considered anti-consumerism. I'll tell you what is, though. Potentially buying up all the publishers so that no matter what, you're having to go through a single business to buy a certain game or IP and taking away the choice to actually maybe go around to another company to buy that product. That's anti-consumerism. Potentially marketing your console to say that, hey, we can do 4K 60 day and date. All our games are going to run at that. And then actuality is only a fraction of your games run at that. And on top of that, you still haven't necessarily delivered that promise even 5 years after launch. That's anti-consumer. Taking people's data and selling it to other third parties without them having their consent to say that you can do that. That's anti-consumers. Potentially losing people's data and not understanding or fixing the issues with your system to maintain their data privacy. That's anti-consumer. Potentially selling a product and saying that it's going to be a top tier product, but that product comes out with bugs. That's anti-consumer. All of those issues right there are reasons you could actually take a company and sue them. Keeping the price with inflation is not. Raising the price and giving a new feature is not necessarily anti-consumer. And so when I think about the $80 game coming from Nintendo, specifically Mario Kart, especially considering that they said that they are going to allow that game to be lent out to other people through their game sharing type of feature that they have. So yeah, you can have the game and give it to someone else, and that other person can play the game at the same time you're playing it. And no, I don't mean what they were talking about the week before, where they say you can lend it out for 2 weeks, but actually just give someone the game, especially their top tier title. I don't consider that anti-consumer. I don't consider someone keeping up with the price of inflation as anti-consumer. But I do think what a lot of other companies are doing is Gamers for so long have said delivers games without bugs. Well, no, the company that tries to do that the most and has probably the best track record of doing it, sure, they don't get it right all the time, but they get it right most of the time, if not the vast majority of the time, is actually Nintendo. Giving us something else with the product, with the price raise. Yes, no one likes prices going up, but giving us something else to where we can maybe justify that. Yes, that is something I want to do. Having a company that actually pays its workers and takes care of them so well that they actually have one of the highest tenures of people staying at the company and working there, meaning they take care of their workers and having the executives potentially take a pay cut so they don't have to fire people. Yeah, that's a company I want to support. And that's things we've always said. So when that company comes out and says, hey, we're going to raise it and we're going to try to maintain all of that and still give you more options, I'm going to go with that company. But you want to know what? Let me see Activision, let me see EA, let me see Take Two, let me see any of these other big companies that have games that are multiplayer say, hey, you know what? We're going to allow you to buy our multiplayer game and then give it to someone else and you both can play together. Let me see them do that. All right. Because if it was the other way around and games had always been able to do that, and then all of a sudden that we said, hey, or the game company said, hey, we're going to take away that ability, but we're going to give you the game $10 cheaper, I guarantee you that would be a bigger sticker shock for people than what's going on now. Again, I think it sucks that the game prices have to go up. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think having to pay for a game is anti-consumer. But some of you do. And for that, I think y'all are actually missing the forest for the trees. And you're going to continue to support companies that are actually doing anti-consumer stuff. But with that said, let me know what you think in the comments below. And I don't care, or this is Purple Haze. I don't care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on, how long you've been gaming. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And as always, the proof is in the play. All right, take care, y'all. And let me know down below. All right, later. Bye.